Again, you start off with the cylinder. This time I'm using a fairly dark green, but when I'm making cabbages I make 3 different cylinders. I'm using a long blade here to cut in half because it's quite a large cylinder. Then I make 2 diagonal cuts on each side. Just moving the pieces slightly apart, but keeping them in order. This avoids confusion. So what I'm doing is I'm making it a little bit like an exploded diagram. Here I've mixed a really light green, using 75% translucent and 25% white, and a little green and yellow. Just a touch, mind. I'm using my fingers to shorten it into a rollable shape. You can of course use a pasta machine for this, and I usually do, but the use of your hands and bottles is actually quite good. Just like the oranges project, I'm going to insert this colour into the other colours along the lines. Needs to be nice and fine. So one at a time. I'm adding this colour between the other pieces. I cut that off at a diagonal so it thins to almost nothing. Then join the 2 back together. Stick it to the next piece and then put the next line in. Please notice there's nothing down the middle yet. When I'm in a hurry I just tear the clay. It does seem to work quite well actually. If there's an air bubble, see if you can squeeze it together. If not, you might need to add a little bit of extra clay in that hole. Just tidying this edge up. And I put the 2 together, and that gives us our 2 halves. Now I need a long thin triangle between these pieces. You can form this with your fingers as I have, but make sure the top is thin enough. If necessary, place, remove and reshape, and then replace several times until you're happy with the shape. It does need to be nice and thin at the top. I'm going to shave a bit off to make it thinner. So that it goes away from quite a thick triangle to almost nothing. And that's the centre. Now we need an even thinner strip of green. If your Fimo's soft enough, you should be able to stretch it thinner. Otherwise, roll it out thinner with the rolling pin or a pasta machine. Now I'm cutting out little triangles on either side of the main branches, I could say. And then add the green to two sides of that triangle and pop it back in. Just make sure it fits in properly. We need a triangle cut out of each of the sections. Tearing a little there. I'll try again. That's better. When you're doing this at home, you can take your time, but I'm just rushing a little bit. Make sure you replace each section carefully. If necessary, open it out a bit to let the extra clay in. And then move on to the next piece. Don't cut out all your triangles at once and then expect to know which piece goes in where. It's much better to do it one at a time. Pop it in. Just two more to go now. Don't forget to do each one. This one will end up a very slightly strange shape. Pop it in. And the last one. It seems very long-winded, but it's really worth taking the time here to get it right. Because then you'll have a long cane that you can make lots and lots of leaves out of. Now that's the right way up. Okay. Then lengthen it using exactly the same method as you did with the orange, getting your fingers right into the middle. I'm just taking that bit off because it's too thick. It's really important that these parts are really well stuck together so they don't move or distort when you roll it. This time you need to stop when the cane is around 1.5 to 2 centimetres thick. I prefer to leave canes at this stage for a while, even for a whole day, to rest before starting to make the cabbages. Here are the different colours. This next bit does take some considerable practice. And it really does help if your canes have been left to rest a while, even up to a couple of days before starting this phase. There is another method which I use to cut these slices, but I'd probably have health and safety people telling me off if I told you it, so you'll just have to practice with this method. To make a simple cabbage, I use 3 shades of green. So I'm cutting colour from each of the shades of green. This is the darker shade that I use for the very outer leaves. That should be enough. To make a simple plain cabbage, I use 3 shades of green. First I make an inner shape. The colour doesn't really matter, but this shape is like a pea on a stalk. The first leaf's wrapped right over the top of this shape. Then the second one goes nearly over it. And the next leaves open out more and more as you add them to the outside. A little like a flower. That's enough of that. We'll go to the second colour now. Just arranging them as you stick them on. Always keep this stalk on as it helps the leaves stick to the base. The last colour is curled right over, really open. But you can choose how open or closed your cabbages are. It depends if they're in a garden or in a shop how they appear. There we are. Just a simple plain flat-leaved cabbage. Here's a crinkly leaf style cabbage. The best known of these is the Savoy cabbage. To crinkle the leaves I use a leaf veiner. Just cut a few leaf shapes and put them onto the veiner. And then press the second half to it. Take it out and give the leaf side a little squeeze, just to loosen it. Then you don't need any powder or anything to stop it sticking. I'll do it again. Put the leaf on one side, press the veiner parts together, squeeze, open, then squeeze that to release it. There we go. One more time. Squeeze, open. That's ended up on the other side. Then you add the outer leaves. And I think these look really effective. You need about 5 or 6 of these outer leaves. No, 4 or 5 actually. 6 would be a bit few too many, I think. One more. Yeah, there's just a little gap there. I'll just stick one more in there. There we go. Beautiful. Remove the stalk just before cooking.